Climate justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Climate justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Climate justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
Future!
Our future!
Future!
Our future!
Planet!
Welcome to everybody joining on our live stream right now. As you can see, we are in Hyde Park with our Reclaim the Future march. A march led by young people. A march for hope. And because we're angry. And because we're full of love. And because we are fearful for our future and yet we refuse to be paralyzed by it. This is a march for resistance. You can see behind me, this is a march to reclaim our future. Everybody on their way right now, please come join us. Come young people, come stand at the front. Come old people and stand as allies to our young activists. And everyone joining from home, thank you for being here. You can hear some amazing chants going on behind me. We started today at the Reformers Tree, a massive, massive symbolism for democracy, for the fight for people power. We join a really long history of powerful protests. The Reformers started here, the Ketts. We have the Chartists and the suffragettes in this country all fighting for people to be in democracy. And now we are joining that very long history and fighting for citizens' assemblies. You see the power of young people and old people coming together to show allyship. Not just with young people here today, but young activists all across the world, risking so much, but fighting for a better world.
When do we want it? Now! What do we want?
Climate justice!
When do we want it?
It's absolutely incredible to be here right now. There's so many young, beautiful activists out fighting because we refuse to be bystanders. We're refusing to let this happen. We're refusing to say goodbye to our future. We will have hope, radical hope. You can hear behind me the chant saying the youth will not be complicit. The youth will not be complicit. We will not be complicit in a system of injustice. We will not be complicit in an undemocratic system. We will not allow this to happen. The youth are rising. To all those that have just tuned in, if you can, please come down to Hyde Park. We are marching through the City of London. Those joining us on the live stream, thank you for listening. And I really hope today that you don't just listen, but you listen actively. But you take what we're saying and you start a conversation. You ask questions. You challenge us. You talk to your neighbours, to your friends. You can see the pure scale of how far back the march goes. You can hear the chants behind us. The youth united will never be defeated. I think we have a young activist right here. Are you okay to be interviewed for a chat? Yeah. Lizzie, what's your name?
I'm Chaos.
Nice. And can you say a little bit just why you're here today?
Yeah, for sure. I'm here because the majority of young people in the world right now are taking power. They're building movements, not only in Colombia, in Chile, in Burkina Faso, in Mali. So yeah, my generation, the majority of which are in the global south right now, are taking power. So I have no excuse as a young person in this country to not do the same.
And the kind of slogan for today is Reclaim the Future. What does that mean to you?
So right now, what that means to me is that the future at this moment, we're in a trajectory of ecological destruction, but more importantly, that's going to come at the cost of genocide of the majority of the world's people. So that's the future that's being laid for us. It's not that the people in power don't understand the facts or don't understand science. This isn't about the people in power understanding what a graph means. This is about the people in power actively creating that future and what reclaiming the future future means is that the future of this part of the world can no longer be at the expense of the future everywhere else. So that's what it means to me.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And if you had some words for those people in power right now, those who aren't listening, if they were, what would you say?
I'm actually going to flip it around because I think the people in power right now are the people that are on the streets, are the people that are creating mutual aid in their communities, are the people that are building fucking food banks, because the climate crisis right now is every single day in the global south. But importantly, now with the cost of living crisis, those are the people that are in power, the people that are building the alternatives to wean ourselves off of the system. So the message that I have for them is solidarity is our survival. Our survival is in our common humanity and our ability to recognize in each other the common struggle that we have for the defense of Mother Earth, for the defense of our people, and more importantly, for the building of our self-determination. So that's my message to the people that are in power, the people that are creating power to get us out of the paradigm that it is the people that sit and in their desks kill people.
Thank you. And final question. If you can say a message to any young person out there that wants to get involved, how can they be here? How can they get involved?
Just get involved. Importantly, firstly, in your community. Learn what it means to be in service to your community. And also, join whatever groups that are around you that are providing services to your community to build your powers within the place that you're in. Within the school that you're in, within the university that you're in, there's always going to be people. But more importantly, you are the person that you've been waiting for. If you have been waiting to get involved in something, you are the person that is going to be creating that. And more importantly, the person that is going to be accountable to your generation. Because to me, being youth isn't a description of your age. It's a description of how committed you are to be accountable to your generation, the majority of which are in the global south.
Thank you so much, Chaos. They were incredible words. Thank you. And for everybody watching, please listen to this, but listen actively. Question it, question us, then ask questions to your neighbours, to your families. Start a conversation. Take these really powerful words, not just as words, but calls to action. That's what we're here today. Fighting for action, fighting for climate justice. We are unstoppable, another world is possible. I now have some other young people here to talk to us. Hey, what's your name?
Jamie Hornsby.
Jamie?
Guys, it's coming. We have to keep going. This is Elisa, I'm Matthew.
Can you say that again?
This is Lisa and I'm Matthew.
Nice, it's so great to meet you. What are you all here today for?
The march. We're rebellion against climate change. We believe very strongly that humans are the problem and only we can stop the damage we're doing.
Amazing. And if we might need to walk a little faster. If you have any messages for the people watching on the live stream today, what would that be?
To help stop climate change, because everybody needs to do their part. I think people should go out on more walks and bike rides instead of just staying in cars. We should never give up hope.
And how long have you all been fighting for climate justice? You seem so young.
Well, we went on a march before. Well, I did. I can't really remember when that was, but we've been fighting for quite a while, kind of.
How about you? How long have you been fighting?
I don't remember, but I think it was somewhere near my entire life.
Entire life?
Yeah.
About the same?
Yeah, mother believes very strongly.
Amazing. 3 incredible people fighting their entire lives. Is there any final message you would like to give any politician out there, anyone in government?
We're screwing things over, so we have to fix them.
Any messages for a politician?
Not really.
Thank you all so much for letting me interview you today. You guys are incredible. Thank you.
Thank you.
As 3 incredible young activists, people who've been fighting their whole lives, fighting for their futures, fighting for the present of the global south. It's really, really inspiring to see that that is our future. Hi.
Hey, I'm Rob.
You're Rob.
Yeah, I'm Robin.
And can you tell me why you're here today?
I'm here today because I was part of the team who founded Extinction Rebellion Youth 3.5 years ago. Spent a lot of time sleeping on the office of the XR floor, getting everything going. You know the little Y on the XR logo? That was me on paint on the first day of XR Youth, and they haven't changed it yet. So the youth need more creativity. No, I'm joking. And I'm here because, well, I've actually been over at, I've done a bunch of different projects now. I'm part of initiating the XR Being the Change Affinity Network, which is really trying to take a lot of what I gave a speech about a minute ago in terms of really building communities of power. So I'm here to reconnect with people because in lots of ways the work I've been doing for the last couple of years has been about radical youth education. So I've been trying to build an education centre called The Rise, the radical youth space for education. So you can find us on all the kind of things, internet, social media, whatever. Because the question I was bringing to my speech was this question of how are we raising our young people? Because for me, that's the question of how you build power. Because look at them, young people are just full of fire. And yet, as a society, we still surrender, as I say, our young people to school that doesn't allow them to be powerful, to jobs and careers that aren't asking their full selves into the world, in a system that is bent on death. We surrender them to all of these different forces instead of, as our family around the world do, saying, actually, these are our young people and we need them to continue the struggles. You know, that's why people talk about generational struggle. We need them to continue fighting for our freedom. And so I'm oh, well, I'm 28 now. I'm aging out of the youth category. So how can I build something to still support young people who are fighting for change, bringing together youth activists, doing educational work, so that every micro generation, as we call them, so you have the big generations and then every few years you got a micro one. How can every micro generation be building on what the previous micro generations done, rather than the old wheel of continual mistakes that we often do. So those are and for example, we've been at SOAS, the School of Oriental and African Studies up at UCL all week, doing an occupation there, zooming in our siblings and family from around the world, so communities of resistance, particularly in Mexico and Colombia and West Africa, to talk to us about the work that they're doing on the ground and say to, for example, students at SOAS, yeah, you guys chat good shit about decoloniality, but what are you actively doing? How are you building power? How are you involved in protest? How are you involved in really fighting for change rather than just writing fancy essays and that kind of thing? So there's lots of different bits in there, but does that make sense?
Yeah.
Those are reasons I'm here. And I'm here because the situation's just really, really bad. And it's really bad in an understanding that, at least for me, the climate crisis is yeah, it's CO2. I studied renewable energy engineering. It's CO2, it's all of these different things. But for example, for me, the climate crisis is also the fact that on my renewable energy engineering degree, which I did for 4 years, not once did they let us talk about the fact that all the copper that was coming to this wind turbine revolution that we obviously need, but that all that copper was on the backs of indigenous people's lives. And when I was in Chile back in 2019, I met some of the indigenous people there who were being kicked off their land to mine the copper, which I was being studied to do. And so for me, the climate crisis is that continuation of a mindset that says, no, we're not going to work out how to live in connection with and within the bounds of Mother Earth. We're going to continue to attempt to live in this fucking crazy excess form, and we're just going to try and bring in things like renewables. We're going to try and bring in other forms that allow us to perpetuate the destruction of Mother Earth. And so, yeah, I'm it's really annoying.
So a lot of today is not just standing in solidarity with our young activists here in Britain, but all around the world, our indigenous young activists, our young activists in the global south, really standing in solidarity.
Yeah, hugely standing in solidarity. Our family, the Global Majority Versus campaign, who are based down a lot in Brixton, but also around London, we've been working with them. Our family, some of the young, yesterday we were talking to a guy, Akin, from the Palenque de Benco Biojos, which is in the Pacific side of Colombia. And it was the first place where enslaved Africans became free in the so-called Americas, and they did it through winning their independence. And one of the things he does over there is he runs a sports team, a young girls football team, where they're reclaiming their African ancestral knowledge through playing football. And we were like, damn, that's so cool. Like, we need people here to understand that, for example, something like football can be used as a site of resistance. Because I grew up playing rugby. You know, I'm from the West Country. We all play rugby. And yet, the idea that I could have a rugby shirt on the back of which was the name of some hero from the Kett's rebellion, you know, Hero or Shiro, who before me had fought for change, and who then I'd be like wearing their name, I'd be repping them, and in that process, I'd be reconnecting myself to the roots of the trees, like I was talking about in my speech, that fed the energy of rebellion, that was part of Kett's, that has always been part of these lands, that real fight for change. And so we were learning from our brothers and sisters, our aunties and uncles across the world in how to do real community resistance. So that's like, it's not just solidarity in the form of like, we stand with you. It's like getting on the phone, making relationships, them sending us knowledge, us sending them, resources. Maybe they need new shirts. We have access to cash here because we're in the heart of friggin' London. What kind of relationships can we build that are very practical, that are based on needs?
It's the idea that solidarity is a verb. It's not just about talking about it, it's a verb, it's actually doing it.
Exactly, and the process that we were doing that under is called the Planet Repairs Action Learning Educational Revolution, or PRELA. We launched this week, so you can find all our socials are like PRELA_news. I was uploading all these amazing videos from around the world. We had family calling in from Gaza, we had family calling, like I said, from Mexico, a bunch of different projects, different places, and just like building these relationships. We were just sat in a square up at SOAS, on the computer, on the projector, having one-to-one conversations with family and being like, what do you need? What do you need of us in terms of practical stuff, but what do you need us to be learning here so that your resistance can continue and so that we can join you in that struggle? So yeah, solidarity is a verb, and in PRELA we have action learning, because we think that learning has to be a verb as well, and that you can't detach something like this, the action, from the learning. And that's one of the things that I worry sometimes within my history of interacting with spaces like XR, is that we can get very into the action and we miss the learning. And in other spaces like SOAS, they're very into the learning and they miss the action. And so we always put those two words together, which I've inherited from my elder Kofi and the Pan-African movement, because you have to balance between those two. If you were like a fancy intellectual, you probably call it praxis. That's that annoying word they all throw around. But it's action learning. Is you do some learning and then you act. And in the act, you learn, and then you take that back and you do some more learning and you bounce between the two. And that's how we work out what we're supposed to be doing. Oh, I just want to shout out, just behind the camera is our Auntie Sol, who was with us all week up at SOAS, just being an absolute legend, connecting us into the spirituality of these lands, looking after us, making sure we had tea, making sure we had cups, all that kind of stuff. So big up Auntie Sol. Yeah.
Thank you so much for speaking today.
Yeah, that's me. Sorry, I've already talked for ages.
No, that was amazing. Thank you all for listening as well.
Yeah, and love and power to everybody. We got a lot of work to do, so let's keep moving.
Amazing.
We can only make the path by walking, so let's walk.
Amazing.
Love
Thank
you all.
you. Amazing. So for everybody just tuning in, we're listening to some amazing young activists right now. We're on our Reclaim the Future march. I believe we have another young activist. Are you happy for a chat?
Yeah.
Amazing. What's your name?
I go by Buffy in XR.
Buffy, amazing. Well, welcome.
Watch it.
Love it.
And I'm 18.
18.
So I'm cool.
And so today we're here to reclaim the future. What does that mean to you?
I don't know. I mean, part of it is literally I think one of the things that I think about is I've been coming to protest since I was 12. I came to protest before I was 12 with my parents, but 12, I was yeah, I want to do this. And I love protests, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of draining, always having to be fighting. So I guess reclaiming the future is also having a future where everything isn't just a fight, always. There is, something like a government that actually, you don't have to scream and shout and do stuff that isn't legal to actually have someone give a shit, because that's just ridiculous. So yeah, I'd like a nap basically, and mainly that really, because right now I have to do it because you have to do it, or otherwise you just have no hope.
And why do you think it's important that young people specifically get involved with activism, with the environmental movement?
Because other people don't do it. Like, the thing is, like, once it's the whole Lorax thing, isn't it? You know, like, one person's got to do it. Also, without even, like, one of the things for me is not even thinking about, like, imagine if the activism that I've done does make no actual difference. It does make a big difference to me in my life as someone who's trying to be environmental, because, like, climate anxiety and, like, you know, trying to be environmental and, you know, with all the other issues, it's exhausting. And to be honest, a lot of the time, I don't have that much hope. But when you come to activist events, when you come to marches, when you have networks of people, you do have support of people saying, here's a really almost easy way for you to get involved, and here's a hug when you feel like there's no hope, and actually have some of my hope. And that's I think a really big part of it, because like there is that we're trying to do a difference, and then there's also you are not alone. And if you're not, for me, when I wasn't part of groups that are trying to do stuff, I was just sitting alone, having the same fears, the same worries, and the same like anger, but I had no one there with me, and so it was very isolating and very scary.
So for all those watching at home that do suffer from climate anxiety or climate grief, or just this, fucking existential fear, how would you say community helps that?
I would say for me, a lot of it is hope. Like, on a lot of days of the week, I will be trying my best to, like, you know, I'm a vegan. Obviously, I'm not saying I want to be a vegan, but, like, I'll be trying my best to make my lifestyle as climate friendly. But there's a lot of days, there's a big part of me that doesn't know or believe that it's really going to make that much of a difference. I feel like that's the way that my climate anxiety and, like, fear really comes in, with just, like, a lack of any kind of hope. And, like, having people there to support you and sometimes just, like, help you take a second. Also remind you to, like, take a break sometimes, because it is exhausting, because it's never ending, because for the moment nothing's changing enough for it to end, if that makes sense.
And final question, do you have any last things to say to all the young people watching today?
I don't know. People say Gen Z and young people are, like, really annoying and angry, and, like, if that's true, then we should be really good at activism, because part of it is just irritating people into listening. So be irritating. Being irritating is important, and that's, like, bring that spirit. Scream at people, repeatedly say the same, you know, like, oh, can you listen? Oh, can you listen? Oh, can you listen? Because if they're not listening normally, you've got to annoy them into submission.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I love that. Be irritating, be annoying, be angry, because this matters. This is important. Thank you so much. Amazing. Hi. We have our fourth amazing young activist speaking today. What is your name?
My name's Misa, and I'm a nurse. I'm a mental health nurse, and I work with children, so I work in CAMS, in children and adolescent mental health nursing.
Oh, amazing. Wow, okay, that's amazing. So I guess a big question around young people right now is climate anxiety or climate grief. Are you seeing that quite a lot recently?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really worried. You know, I speak to kids all day, every day, and they come in, and I feel actually, you know, kids are coming in and they're, you know, sick. But they're not sick. It's a system, you know, the system is sick. And we're trying to mould children into a system that doesn't work, you know. So we're seeing it in CAMS, but it's not that the children are sick, you know. People, you know, the system is sick. We're trying to push children, mould children into a schooling system that doesn't work, to a future that it doesn't make sense. So it's no wonder that people are sick, you know, children are sick.
And a big theme of the march today is reclaim the future. What does that mean to you?
Well, what it means to me is I want our young people to have hope and to feel that they have ownership on their future and they're not being pushed into something that doesn't make sense for them, you know. And I want, you know, for me personally, I'm 29 years old, I want to have children, I want to feel not guilty about bringing children into this world and not feeling like I'm you know, doing them a disservice by bringing them into the world and not feeling guilty. So, yeah.
And we have so many amazing NHS workers here. We have doctors, nurses, and mental health practitioners. And it's amazing to see, but I think that also brings the question, why are people in the health service rebelling? Why are we forced to take the streets now?
Yeah, we're rebelling because, you know, there's a lot of pressures on the NHS that don't make sense. You know, they're trying to privatise the NHS, and that's not okay. You know, actually, there's a lot of, you know, disequalities that are happening, and that's not what we want. So we're seeing that we're not able to help our patients as much as we want to be able to help our patients, as much as we should, because of constraints that are being put on us because of cuts. And this all relates, you know, the whole thing relates. It's not separate. It's not separate from the climate crisis. They all relate together.
And I think, I know me and a lot of people I've spoken to today, we have what you'd call climate anxiety, or you have this fear of the future. Do you have any advice for young people watching right now?
Yeah, I would say, you know, it's normal to have fears. You know, we're scared, and that's okay. You know, we should be scared, but, you know, we can't be scared alone. We have to be scared together. We have to bring each other together, and we have to explain each other's fears and talk about them, and then in that we can build change, and we can change. So it's normal to be scared, but don't be scared alone, would be my message.
Amazing. It's okay to be scared, but don't be scared alone. I think that's such a powerful message you just said. Thank you so much for speaking with me today. Have a good day. It's okay to be scared, but don't be scared alone. I think that is such an incredible message. Hi, we have another person to be interviewed. Hi! It's nice to see you again. Nice to see you. Oh, I've seen so many people on Zoom. In person. Yeah. I've met so many people on Zoom and just seen, amazing. Can you introduce yourself for the camera for everyone else?
Sure. I don't actually live in London. I am here for the Weekend of Resistance. I'm so proud to be part of this march with other youth to reclaim our future, as well as older folks showing solidarity with us.
Amazing. And a big theme of today is reclaim the future. What does that mean to you?
Well, our futures have been stolen. Our futures have been stolen by the fossil fuel industry and by capitalism at large and by those who uphold it. This is not a neutral choice. Climate change isn't just happening. Climate change is happening as a result of choices people, corporations, politicians, the entire capitalist system has made. This is not something that just happened. This is something that people have made happen. So we are saying, no, we're not going to allow that anymore. We are reclaiming our future. We are taking it back.
Amazing. And why is it so important that young people specifically come out and march and fight and be in resistance?
Well, we're the ones who, if we don't die from climate collapse and social collapse, before then we'll have to live with the greatest consequences of climate change. To be clear, the effects of climate change are already here, especially in communities of color and the global south. It's not just something that will happen in the future, but the worst effects are still yet to come, which is hard to believe when we're already seeing droughts and flooding and crop failure and climate refugees already emerging. But the worst is still yet to come, and it's going to be the youngest of us and those not yet born who will have to deal with the worst effects yet to come.
Amazing. And do you have any messages to any young people out there watching today?
Why are you watching? Why are you out here with us? On that note, if you can't come for any reason, there are ways that you can help from home. You can do back office, you can do police station support, you can boost us on social media, you can organize local actions if you can't come out to London. There are lots of good reasons why people might not be with us here today. But if you can't be with us here today, ask yourself, what can you do?
Amazing. And does today give you hope? Does seeing all these many, what is this feeling of seeing this many people?
It feels empowering, especially because I'm here with someone from my local community who's getting more involved in this kind of activism. So I'm like, yes, let's keep doing it when we get home. Amazing. You know, it's not just a weekend of resistance, it's your whole life.
Yeah, Amazing. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
Thank you so much for
So
the
good to see you in person, finally. Amazing. Thank you. Amazing. Another brilliant young activist. I think we have quite a few lined up. Amazing. Hi, what is your name?
Kitty,
Kitty. And how old are you, Kitty?
10.
10. And why are you here today?
And I'm here today because I really want to protect animals because they're all losing their habitat because people are cutting off trees and polar ice caps are melting. And so some animals could disappear.
And do you have any messages for any other 10-year-olds watching on our live stream today?
I think that we should all try and play our part in saving the planet so that then everyone, so that we can all have a cleaner planet and have more animals with us.
More animals. Amazing. And how does it feel being here today? What's it like?
It's nice.
Nice? Yeah? There's a lot of chanting and samba as well. Is this your first thing with Extinction Rebellion?
No.
How long have you been fighting for climate justice then?
Maybe a year or half a year.
Year and a half. Amazing. A 10-year-old fighting for a year and a half for our futures, for climate justice. Thank you so much for being here today. Do you have any other messages for any adults watching on the live stream today? Anything from young that you want to say as a young person?
Just help the planet.
Just help the planet. Thank you so much. Thank you. Amazing. So many incredible activists here. I think we potentially have one of our youngest people here today. Hi. Hi. What's your name?
Can you say Jesse? Not a great name. Can you say hi? Maybe
A
not.
little bit camera shy. Hi. And what's your
I
name?
have to speak for him, maybe.
That's okay.
My name's George.
George. I'm presuming you're her dad?
His dad, but you know.
Dad. Sorry.
It's her.
Yes.
Tomato.
Yeah. And how does it feel to be a parent here today?
Can we keep moving a little bit away from the samba? Sorry. I mean, important, inspiring, a reminder of how much further we have to go to get the scale of mobilisation required to shift an unimaginably destructive status quo, which has all the institutional momentum built into it to just eat up the living world and in the process destroy the conditions of life required for a peaceable future for him and all other people on the planet. You know, and it can't. He likes badges but likes throwing them too. There we go. But yeah, I mean, quite simply, we are faced with a sort of systematized insanity that we've been sort of drip-fed so much over the decades that we almost sort of accept that it's inevitable or normal. And it is just extraordinary what the government's own scientists are telling them has to be done, which is nothing less than a transformation of the current system. You know, the Intergovernmental Panel on Nature said we need a transformation of the economy, the society, and the technology, and our paradigms, goals, and values. Literally everything about what this system has done up to this point has to be shifted. But I think it's really important to emphasise also, this isn't just about kind of a complete unknown transformation of everything. This is just about shifting the global system to reflect the values that everybody already holds, except for a few percent of sociopaths that run the system. And even those sociopaths, like in terms of their global impact, when you engage with them not as the sort of sociopathic agents of institutions like corporations, a lot of them share the same, they are also parents that are concerned for their children. There's just this giant global dissonance born of the fact that we have not yet stood up against these giant industries and powerful interests that are hell-bent on destroying the world. And it is wound into our economic system as it currently stands. 3% growth every year means you have an economy roughly double the size every 25 years, which in the absence of a complete transformation of how that economy works, means that every 25 years you destroy more Earth than we've destroyed in the entirety of humanity up to that point. And that's worth emphasizing that there's an American mathematician, he said that humanity's greatest failure is our inability to appreciate the exponential growth function. And put in normal language, that means when something doubles, it means that every time it doubles, that's equivalent to all the doublings that have ever happened before, right? So we just have this insane system where all the scientists are telling us we've already gone way past the point where we weren't being destructive. You know, we tend to talk about sustainability, but I think that's hugely misleading because it distracts from the fact that we have, the scientists say we can have roughly a 50 billion ton economy, like the amount of stuff in the global economy, roughly 50 billion tons a year. It's kind of all right. We're at nearly 100 billion already. We are just destroying at an unimaginable scale, mainly just to provide more money and wealth to the already powerful, which gives them more power to keep the same system going. It's just madness. It is insanely undemocratic, it's insanely immoral, and it's insanely irrational. And I think the really other really important thing to emphasise is that we have technology, not just in terms of delivering renewable energy, but really complex understanding of how we can provide food for everyone on the planet in a way that gives everybody a healthy diet and protects the rest of the planet. You know, we have all the solutions we need, like because of the sort of incredibly greedy global system we have at the moment, we have global networks already in place that allow for things to transmit incredibly quickly. In other words, we can have a transformation of the global system that could bring us a viable, peaceable and far fairer, more democratic future in 5 years, if that's what the world committed to. But it is going to require a much greater scale of mobilisation than we have at the moment, which just means more people believing that they actually have power. And history shows that we do. You know, like laughably small percentages of people have been behind the changes to the vote over time, to the rights of women, to anti-colonial struggles even. You know, some of those involved in major percentages of the population. I mean, in many cases you're talking about 1, 2, 3% of people taking action when the cause is just and in the interest of everybody. And it's the truth power that those people have, making the case over and over again for what is sane, moral, rational and in our interests. That allows that change to happen. But we have to keep pushing. You know, I've had enough of people saying with protests, well, you're disrupting things, you've had your say, you've made your point. This is not about making a point. This is about recognising the fact that unless we bring about the material transformation required, we are facing utter spiralling catastrophe. And I can't, again, I've said this twice already, but you cannot say it enough. This is not activists saying this. This is the intergovernmental scientists themselves, right? Because the media will always say, activists say that the government isn't doing enough. The government says it's fine. All we are doing is representing what the science is saying. Science plus basic morality means transform the system to an infinitely fairer one. Because for what, right? We have a tiny percentage of the world's population responsible for like 80% of all the climate destruction, all the environmental destruction, and they're not even made happy from it. It's just more and more stuff for no reason. We've got to grow up as a species. This is the infinite opportunity to save ourselves and to transform humanity into what it's always wanted to be. Namely something that we can all feel proud of, where we can all connect with each other, feel that our own lives are not at the expense of somebody else's. Every single parent wants that, everywhere in the world. And this is, make no mistake, what's going on already across the world is a crime against humanity. It's a genocidal crime against humanity, and that's not sort of fiery rhetoric. That is simply true. What, again, the intergovernmental scientists say is already underway. It's going to destroy the viability of numerous peoples across the most vulnerable parts of the world.
And if I can ask one final question, the theme of today's march is Reclaim the Future. What does that mean to you, but what does that mean to Jesse?
It means believing in faith, hope, and courage again, right? This whole system was based on this idea: there is no alternative. It's called the Tina doctrine. There is no alternative. Margaret Thatcher said there's no such thing as society. There's just individuals and families, and then went about destroying the very fabric of that society. Either we believe in the possibility of humanity to come together to solve its problems, to create a better future. This prospere literally just means for hope. Again, wealth just means well-being. We live in a sort of insane world that George Orwell would be spinning in his grave because of, where what we call wealth is basically like exponential destruction, and what we call prosperity is exponential destruction. We need to believe in the possibility of creating well-being, and like I said before, we have the means at our disposal as a species to do that like never before. 200 years ago there was a drought or something somewhere, there was no international network that could, in 12 hours provide people with what they need. We have that now. So let's believe in what it could bring about, which is a viable, beautiful, fairer future for everybody that we can actually be proud of, you know. And, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you, Jessie, too.
It's very much. Should we say Extinction? Rebellion! Maybe a bit tired.
Maybe a bit camera shy. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Amazing. So if you're just tuning in, we are interviewing some amazing young activists. We've also spoke to mental health nurses, to parents. I think we have another interviewee just behind. Hi. What's everybody's names here?
I'm Ben.
Ben? What's your name?
My name is Ifame Kelleher.
Hey, nice. And what, Ifame, and what brought you all here today?
Because I'm here because I want to defend my future and all the other kids' future.
Why are you here today?
I'm here because I want to help. I'm here because I want to help make the planet.
Maybe we should just wait a second till Sambo walks past. Yeah. And are you their parent?
I'm not a parent, yeah.
And how do you feel about being here today as a parent?
I mean, I think it's really crucial. I think we underestimate children and what they have to tell us. And not only do we know that we're setting up their future, right, for a future that, you know, we don't know how they'll be able to survive, you know, but not only that, they have so much that they can help with. My daughter already gives presentations at school about this, and, you know, when I was a kid, no one was talking about this, right? So I feel like it's really important to include them, no matter their age. Yeah.
And do you have anything to say to all the young people watching, all the other kids watching today?
All the other kids who want to become activists, be brave and don't let anything stop you.
And do you have anything you want to say to all the other children watching today?
I was going to say the same exactly as she did.
Yeah, amazing. And do you have any messages for all the adults watching?
Stop using fossil fuels.
How about you? That's okay. And who's this guy?
He's called Salty and he's a fluffy sloth.
Fluffy sloth. And how long have you and Salty been involved with climate justice and marching?
Well, actually, Salty hasn't been in it for very long, but I have done it for since I was 6 years old, and now I'm 9 years old.
Wow, since you were 6 years old. How about you? How long have you been here?
I don't know.
Okay, it's hard to talk in front of the camera. I find it tricky too.
She's been joining marches for
I've
a
done
couple years.
speeches.
She's been joining marches for a couple years, and
I've been filmed for short movies, and I've done speeches before, so it's kind of easy.
Amazing. So amazing young activists have been activists and fighting for climate justice for 3 years. That's incredible. Thank you so much for speaking with me today.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you around.
We're going to keep walking and then there's
So if you're just tuning in, we're going to speak to some more incredible young activists today. Hi, what's your name?
Zach.
Zach. And how long have you been fighting for climate justice?
About 2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years. Wow, that's incredible. And why are you here today?
Because I think it's just a really important part of like, I don't know, it's like really important, and more people need to take notice. And I think politicians, they're not making the right decisions.
What does your sign say?
It says, why are politicians so stupid?
Wow, it's such a good sign. And do you have any messages for the politicians out there?
maybe in future you should make better choices rather than just making the wrong choices and doing bad stuff. Yeah.
And to all the young people watching today, what would you say? How can they get involved? What should they do?
I would say you should see if there's like a local thing going on near you about Extinction Rebellion and stuff. And you can like ask your parents if you want to go, or if you can go, and then you can you can get prepared and stuff with signs.
Amazing. And final question for you: what does it feel like to be here today?
It feels great to be in like such an important thing. That really matters. It's like it's crucial for the earth. So like yeah.
Thank you. And how does it feel to be a parent here today?
Well, really important to be here. I mean, every parent should be here. I'm a teacher as well, so everybody who's responsible for the safeguarding of young children should be here today, calling out our government and saying that they need to be doing more.
Well, thank you, and it's incredible. 2 to 3 years fighting for climate justice. That is amazing.
Long way to go yet.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
So I have to say this is my first weekend doing a direct action with XR. I have to admit I've been a bit sceptical about their tactics in the past, but when you come along and you see the energy, it's incredible, and it's really important not to get angry and just to see the necessity of something like this. You know, the government is constantly trying to take away our right to protest, and this is the most important thing anyone can do. None of us should feel powerless, really. Feel empowered.
I'm Ines, and I'm helping to steward this march today, and I'm really honoured to be helping the youth who are leading this march. And it is the proper and right way to do it. After all, it's their future, but also they have the intelligence and the emotional intelligence to know what approaches to take. How do we speak to people in the street, and really what is the vision for the future? So I'm really looking forward to getting to Westminster and the activities that follows there, because they're inspired by their own vision of the future.
Thank you.
So to everybody just tuning in right now, we are at our Reclaim the Future march, a march led by young people, a march led by people who are angry and scared, but still so full of hope and so full of love and so in resistance. It's incredible to see. My name's Imogen. I'm going to be hosting this live stream for a while. I'm a student and I'm here as a young activist as well. We started today's march at the Reformers Tree, a really symbolic place for activism, a symbolic place for democracy. Later that was replaced with the tree of resistance from the Keel Rebellion even. And we have such a long history of fighting for democracy, fighting for everyday people's voices in these positions of power. We have the Chartists, the suffragettes, we have the Formers, we have so many, and today we are joining that long line of history. I have another beautiful activist here joining us as we make that history happen. Hi, what's your name?
I'm Laura.
Laura, and how old are you?
I'm 11.
11, amazing. And how long have you been fighting for climate justice?
Probably for about 3 years. Like, I came home one day after learning about climate change in school and I decided I wanted to do something.
Amazing. And do you have any messages for any young people out there who want to get involved?
Well, if you want to do it, you can do it. It doesn't matter how much money you have. If you join in, you'll make a difference. It's about numbers sometimes.
And why are you here today?
Well, because I think we need to do more about it, and one day I want to be able to look up at the sky and actually see the stars.
Yeah, amazing. Wow. And do you have any messages to any of the adults out there?
Well, basically, the children can do it. The children can make a difference. It doesn't matter how old you are.
Amazing. And what about to any politicians out there?
Well, I kind of want everyone to wake up and see that we're not the enemy. We're trying to fight for everyone.
That's a really, really beautiful thing. And how does it feel to be out here today?
It's quite exciting and it's quite cool seeing everyone like joining in.
Amazing. Do you have any final messages to anybody watching right now?
Well, basically just try and join in, try and help, even if it's just recycling more, or like just try and help and try not to litter, try and do everything that you can.
Amazing. And my final thing, do you have a favourite chant?
I like the simplest ones, like what do we want, climate justice, when do we want it now?
Should we do a mini one of that?
Okay.
Do you want to do it?
What do we want?
Climate justice!
When do we want it?
Now! Amazing. Thank you so much. I seem to have another beautiful young activist here. Hi, what's your name?
Aisha.
And how old are you?
I am 8.
8 years old. And how long have you been fighting for climate justice?
I don't really know.
You've cared about it forever, haven't you, darling?
Yeah.
Very strongly about it.
And why are you here today?
Because I just really wanted to fight for climate change.
And do you have any messages to all the young people watching today?
I think they should do more climate marches because they can make the world a better place.
And do you have any messages for the politicians out there?
You're the Prime Minister and the other people who rule the country. What do you want to tell them?
Well, I want to tell them that they have to try and make sure we can stop fossil fuels and so we can breathe normal air, not just like fossil, like not like clean air.
We want clean air, don't we?
Clean air. We don't have much clean air left. So yeah.
And when did you first hear about climate change, about the climate crisis?
I think I first heard about it when I was like, I don't know, like 1?
A while ago then, yeah?
Yeah.
And do you have a favourite chant?
The one that they're doing right now.
Should we do a mini one now? Do you want to lead it? Or should I lead it? What do we want?
Climate justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Climate justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
Amazing. Thank you so much for speaking with me. So many incredible people. We have another one here. Hi. Do you want to have a chat? What's your name?
Lily.
And how old are you, Lulu?
5.
5. Amazing. And how long have you been fighting for climate justice?
Not too long.
Well, you're only 5, so...
Actually, Lulu came on to one of the first protests. I think it's actually going through the April 19.
Wow.
She was literally like just walking.
So
and
all
you
your
were
life,
waving a flag.
really? Yeah, amazing. And why are you here today?
I wanted to come.
And if you could say, or send a message to any young people out there watching right now, what would you say?
I would say that.
Come and join us. You say come and join us? I say come and join us. Come and fight for climate change. Come and take action. Civil disobedience for citizen assemblies now.
And how does it feel to be a parent out here today?
It's lovely to be as part of a community who I know share similar sentiments and feelings and share this anxiety. So in terms of like the nurturing and the well-being aspect is very important to me. On the action side, it's really also empowering to be amongst people who I know are willing to take action and be the change that they want to see. So it's important to be here, and it's important to bring my children as well, so they understand that there are people fighting for their futures, no matter what bleak news they might hear on TV. Because I hear, so sometimes I get anxiety from my children at night time, and they break into tears and they tell me, I want to be Prime Minister one day, and the next day they say, what's the point of being Prime Minister? Because the world is going to die, we're going to die, etc. And it's like, I haven't said that to them. I want them to fight for their future. I want to fight for their future, but they're still hearing it from left, right, and centre. So these are bringing positivity, encouragement, and then driving people for change. And I think it's really important that people come together. And we just need everyone on the street right now.
And the theme of today is Reclaim the Future. What does that mean to you, but also to Lulu?
I want her to understand that there is a chance, we have to fight for a positive and better future for them. We can do this. Together we can do this. We are, human beings have got an incredible resource and engineering and creativity, and we learn and adapt, and this is how the Homo sapiens have evolved into what they are today. So it is possible to make the change, and it's about not kind of falling into the sort of doomism or the doomism and thinking, oh, it's too late and there's nothing we can do. Every sense of a degree of warming saved is a win, is a win for her future, for their future, and for everybody really. And the ones who are already suffering right now, essentially, and have been for about 20, 30 years.
And do you have a favourite chant?
Climate justice. You like that one, don't you? What do we want? Climate justice. When do we want it? Now.
Should we do it together? What do we want?
Climate justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Climate justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
Amazing. Thank you so much for speaking with me. Wow. And we have another young activist here. Hi, what's your name?
I'm Lasmina.
Hi, and how old are you?
18.
18. And how long have you been fighting for climate justice?
Oh, well, I've just been living in Brunei, where protesting is illegal.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's very, very exciting for me to be able to finally feel like I can protest and have my say in politics.
Amazing. Wow, there's so much there. And so what does it mean to you to be here today?
Well, this is my deepest fear is the climate crisis, and it feels so good to finally feel like I'm able to do something about it, and to feel like even though I'm making the smallest change, to at least feel like I'm making a change, Yeah.
And the theme of today's march is Reclaim the Future. What does that mean to you?
It means reclaiming the future from the people, from the politicians and the oil corporations and the fossil fuels that are trying to destroy my future and the future of my generation. I'm so frightened of growing up and having my whole life being just watching the planet die, And I think that's why this protest is so important.
And protesting anyway is scary, but we do have a big privilege in this country to be out on the streets. How can we stand in solidarity with people that can't do that as easily?
Well, I think because we have the privilege to have a voice, we have to be as loud as possible for the people that can't be, and we have to amplify those voices that are trying to be suppressed,
And if you could say one message to all the young people out there watching today, what would that be?
This is my first protest, and I've had such an incredible time, for anyone who's thinking about protesting but has never done it before, I would absolutely encourage it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much. It's so inspiring to see. Wow. There's so many incredible people here today.
Isn't it?
so beautiful to see people mobilising in their numbers, and resistance is a continuous thing, and that one has to step into these spaces on a regular basis to ensure that justice is being raised and that we're not going silently.
And the theme of today's march is Reclaim the Future. What does that mean to you?
So for me, it's about the trajectory we're on. The trajectory we're on for breaching 1.5 very soon, possible futures of 2 degrees, 3 degrees, 5 degrees. If we continue with like 100 new oil and gas sites and things like this, that's what it's about. It's saying, actually, we want to reclaim this. This trajectory that we're on is not the trajectory that will give us a livable planet, and that includes for all of us, including animals and fauna, and all of us beautiful human beings.
And if you could send a message to all the beautiful young activists out there, not just in the UK, but all around the world, what would you want to say? What would you want to tell them?
Justice is never given. It's always demanded. And even when you get justice, you have to be the keepers of that justice. It's not good enough, no matter which country you're in, to abdicate that. Because we know political systems and corporate interests will constantly try and erode any of the gains that future generations may gain. But never on your watch do you stand still. You always keep moving forward.
Amazing. I was just interviewing somebody who was saying in their country they can't get on the streets as easily, and saying that what we need to do to stand in solidarity is to say our voices as loud as possible for everyone that can't. Do you have anything to add to that statement?
Well, yeah, because, the situation is that some people have more voice than others. And I am sitting in the UK with a voice that has more impact right now because we have the access to the global media and to the channels. Whereas my family in India and people in Pakistan and Bangladesh, all these tragic things are happening, but nobody's really given them any... They may report on it, but they're not saying, well, this has happened, what should we be doing about it and how? And one of the big critical things that we can be doing right now is dropping the debt for these countries, right? So we talk about how do we support each other through this crisis, and it is each other. We cannot get out of this one community or one country think that they're going to survive without the other, right? We're interconnected, and this means dropping the debts, and then also for mitigation. So, we have enough resources and money across the globe to be sharing. It's time that we broke this toxic system of keeping resources and skills and money to one side. It's time to release and let go and share so that we can all benefit.
And my final question today, this morning or last night, the Home Secretary announced that they were going to start cracking down on protests again with this new public order bill. Do you have any messages for them? How do you think that's gonna stop us?
Do you know what? The police crime sentencing bill, when it emerged, we knew what the trajectory was. But I think in this country, we've never seen these type of bills before. We've never seen the police enact this way. So it's going to take millions of us to reclaim our streets and our voice and our power. Because we see in other countries, like you see in Russia, you see in Ukraine, you see when the state takes over power and militarizes the streets, that's the trajectory we're on. So the time is now, and it's a beautiful now, because we're still able to do this. And if there's millions of us, you can't get away with it. U-turn after U-turn, that's going to be your name and your legacy, this government. None of us in this country, we do not consent and we did not vote for you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So many incredible people here today. Wow. So many incredible people. For everyone just tuning in, you can see our Reclaim the Future march is massive and it's all young person led.
Extinction!
We are contributing to a long history of fighting for democracy, fighting for the power of people, and this time it is young people leading it. I've talked to kids as young as 3 today, and they've been fighting their whole lives. It's really, really incredible to see. It's very powerful to see. So many beautiful faces, beautiful souls here today, fighting for climate justice, fighting for a better planet, because we are refusing to stand by and let this happen. We are refusing to be bystanders to injustice. We are marching today because we are angry. We are marching because we are filled with love. We are filled with hope and fear, and we are marching because we are in resistance. We cannot be obedient to a system that is killing us. We need mass civil disobedience, and we need it now.
We're lost longer before we have to go, so we don't have any scans. So you're gonna have to dive in and find some people.
Oh, okay. Hi, are you happy to have a chat with me today? Oh, what's...
You have a chat? Are you happy?
What's your name?
Isaac.
Isaac. And how old are you, Isaac?
5.
5. Amazing. And how long have you been fighting for climate justice?
I don't know.
All your life, I bet. What does your sign say today? Wow. Did you make that yourself?
Yeah.
Amazing. And how does it...
I didn't do this by myself.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
And how does it feel to be here today?
Great.
Great. And can you tell the camera why you're here?
I don't know.
Yes, you do. It's on your sign. Why are you here? What does it say on your sign? What happens when the planet gets too hot? You're shy, aren't you? It's not good, is it, for people? For people living when the sea rises?
So Isaac, do you have a favourite chant?
Chant?
Chant. He doesn't know what a chant is.
Oh,
what
okay.
do we say? What have we been saying? Be kind. Stop. Think. Be kind. Lots of thinking.
That is a great chant. Thank you so much for being here today, Isaac. You say hi to all the young people watching today on our live stream.
Stop, think, be kind.
Hi.
And how does it feel to be a parent here today?
Yeah, important.
Important.
Feels important.
Amazing.
We're just normal people, but we think there should be more consciousness.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Isaac. Bye. Wait.
Hi everyone, you're just joining us. I'm James, I'm from Norfolk. I'm just going to turn the camera around so you can see me. So this is a youth-led march, but I'm a bit more older than that, so I'm going to try and represent the youth for a little bit, stand in solidarity with them because we're marching for their future today. We started off in Hyde Park this morning where we all grouped up, had some speeches, and now we've set off marching towards Parliament Square. And it's all about reclaiming our future off the politicians that are lying to us, that are selling us down the line. And some of the people we've heard from this morning, some of the youth, have incredibly powerful words they've spoken, and they're all deeply concerned, obviously, about what the future holds for them, and rightly so. And we saw overnight Suella Braverman, the Home Secretary. I think she's told Priti Patel to hold her beer, hasn't she? Because she's coming out with new powers. She wants to bring in new forces to combat protests, to deal with the likes of Animal Rebellion, of Just Stop Oil, of Extinction Rebellion. But that's not going to stop us, frankly, because we're fighting for our very futures. And that is what Reclaim the Future, that's what the march is about today. We've seen over the last few months the extortionate profits that fossil fuel companies have made. Billions and billions of pounds at our expense as well. Fuel prices continue to rocket, cost of living crisis. It's continuing to hit people and will do over the winter, sorry. Getting confused with my seasons. I think the seasons are getting confused with the seasons at the moment. Seasonably warm October. But yeah, it's been brilliant to be out on the streets today, supporting the youth and really hearing their voices. You can hear them chanting away. Climate justice is what they want. And it's all intrinsically linked, isn't it? That theme of climate change, the climate crisis, the ecological emergency, and wanting climate justice, bringing it all together, because you can't have one without the other. So if you're in London today, we're going to be in Parliament Square probably in about half an hour, I would have thought. Come out and join us. Come and say hello, come and support. We're marching for your future. If you can't in London, if you're watching from another part of the country, please like, comment, and share on this live stream, get the news out there. Because what we're trying to do at the moment, we're trying to mobilise numbers, we're trying to build numbers towards spring next year. So in April next year, we're going to be gathering together in our thousands, hopefully with lots of the youth again out on the streets to demand change. We've got our 3 demands. The government should tell the truth, but they're not telling the truth at the moment, that's for sure. Goodness knows where Truss and the government are going to act now on the climate crisis. Well, they're doing the opposite. They want to open up 140 new oil and gas fields in the North Sea, 140 new projects which are going to add emissions when the IPCC, scientists, the International Energy Committee, UN Secretary, government advisors they're all saying the same thing. Let's stop all new investments in fossil fuels. Let's conserve our remaining nature. Let's reduce our carbon emissions. But the government's doing the opposite. It's crazy. And for the benefit of that very small minority of people, the super rich, which are making billions of pounds. I think it's 50 billion pounds that the fossil fuel industry made up till August. 20 billion for Shell and 12 billion or so for BP. So it's no wonder the youth are a bit cross about that. I'd be a bit cross about that too. Well, I am fuming about it. I got back from an action last night which saw several of my friends get arrested doing civil disobedience to try and build a future for people. I just felt exceedingly angry about it all. But then there's a lot of love on the streets as well. And love is motivating people to get out and demand change for all these children and for ourselves. Because the climate crisis is here right now. It's affecting people right now. There were 60 homes destroyed in the UK over the course of the summer through wildfires. Potato harvest has been hit, wheat harvest has been hit. And in the UK, we're still relatively fortunate compared with the global south, where thousands of people are either being flooded out of their homes, like in Pakistan, 30,000 people flooded out. There's more than that, I think. There's much more than that. A third of their country was flooded out. And then Nigeria have got massive floods at the moment. So the climate crisis isn't something that's down the river. It's actually happening right now, especially in the global south. The people that emit least, do the least damage in terms of emissions, are actually the ones being affected the most. Those people are seeing their loved ones perish either through hunger or disease or extreme weather conditions. When are the government's going to take it seriously? And change can happen at home first. Liz Truss and her cabinet need to do something about it. Yeah, but let's just think about the theme of this march as well. So, if you joined early, you would have seen an oak sapling, which come all the way down from Norfolk, from Kett's oak. And Francis Kett was, I think it was Francis Kett, was it Robert Kett? I get confused. A Kett anyway, in 1549, he rose up with the commoners in rebellion against the government because they were having their land taken off them, enclosures were happening, they couldn't pay their rents, and the common people all rose up together. And Kett, who was a landowner himself, said enough is enough, which is quite a parallel with what's going on at the moment with the Enough is Enough movement. And the commoners rose up in Norfolk. I think it sparked lots of rebellions all around the country actually, and fought against the government for justice. And that's what people are doing today. They're rising up against the government. That theme is carried through. We've brought down acorns from Norfolk, which is where I live at the moment, and we're giving them out to members of the public as a symbol of freedom, of rebellion, of fighting for change, fighting for climate justice. So members of the public are being given them and told a little story about why we're here. And the spirit of rebellion, it feels like it's really alive at the moment with movements like Enough is Enough, with Extinction Rebellion, Just Stop Oil, Animal Rebellion. The people that are refusing to pay their energy bills, the Don't Pay campaigns. So all these different movements are gathering momentum, they're out on the streets. And the RSPB are now doing direct action. I'll tell you, if you piss off the RSPB, you're in trouble. So their members are now activating thousands and thousands of people. And hopefully everyone will be able to come together in spring next year. Hundreds of thousands of people out on the streets. Watching the salmon go past. The rhythm of the rebellion. Drumming all the way down from Hyde Park, keeping people's energy up. There's a lot of energy here, a lot of positivity. And it was really brilliant to hear from the younger members of the rebellion earlier, what they've been up to and how they're so passionate about, well, they're acting in love, but they're also acting in fear about their futures. So I think we're just on Third Page Walk at the moment, if you're about, heading down towards Parliament Fair, next to St James's Park. If you can get out and join us, everyone is welcome. If you can't get out, then spread the news on social media if you can. Talk to your friends and family about what we're doing and why we think it's necessary. Direct action has been proven to bring about change in the past. I'm going to turn the camera around a little bit. Yeah, direct action has been proven in the past to cause governments to shift path. Whether that be for civil rights, for gay rights, independence in India, suffragettes and votes for women. None of these came about by people voting. None of them came about by people sitting at home doing nothing. People have had to fight for these changes. And that's why Extinction Rebellion is out on the streets again today, and it will be continuing with in solidarity with lots of other movements as well. Taking peaceful, non-violent, direct action. A sense of love for your fellow humans. I'm going to try and get to the front. I've been deafened by sound.
Welcome to everybody who's just joining us now. We are at the Extinction Rebellion Reclaim the Youth March. I'm here with some incredible people. Hi, would you mind just introducing us, saying who you are and how old you are?
Yeah. Hi, my name's OK. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm 19.
Amazing. And the theme of today's march is Reclaim the Future. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, so I think firstly it means we want our future back. Other generations got to have a future on a livable planet with predictable weather patterns and like a safe future, and this generation also deserves that. It is our right to have that. But I think it also means Reclaim the Future also means we should be able to design the future in a way that benefits everyone and doesn't just serve the coal, the oil and the gas companies. And that is also, I think, what the general public maybe doesn't see as much of in like when they're looking at XR is, oh yeah, we want to disrupt things, we want to cause change, but what future do we want? And I'm really glad we had this march today, because I think we've got to show that we're building for something positive as well as trying to protect ourselves want an ecological breakdown. We're building something positive and constructive too.
Amazing. And if there's any message out there for young people that you could give, what would that be?
I think it's just to know that, like, oh, it's so cringy, but like you can't make a difference. Everyone is so scared. We saw it on the bus tour, people sticking their stickers. They were all up here terrified. Everyone we met was terrified. And you don't need to sit at home and be terrified. It's really easy to do that. You can just come out on the street. Just being here is making an impact. You don't need to take on a big, massive role, identify as an activist. Just one small thing, as long as it's something against the system, taking direct action, that's all we need from everyone.
And final thing, anyone that's like a bystander watching the march today, anyone that's seeing on the news, anyone watching this live stream, what would you like them to know?
I'd want them to know that if they want to find out more about XR, just ask. We're all just people, we're all just normal people wanting a livable future, wanting a positive future, wanting a future that's there for everyone. So if you see someone with a little flag and you don't know what it means, come up and ask us. I would love for people to do that. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Amazing, thank you so much. Thank you. And we have some other amazing young activists around who are willing to give us an interview. Hi, are you alright to have a chat with us today?
Okay, but I can't hear anything.
I'll be loud. What's your name and how old are you?
I'm Sophia and I'm 12 years old.
And why are you here today?
Because I think everything is just... I don't really know. I think it's just everything's going to be a complete disaster if we don't do something about it right now.
And what would you like to say to all the young people watching?
Well, come and join it, I guess.
And do you have any messages to any politicians out there?
No, I can't hear you.
Do you have any messages? Oh, hi. Do you have any messages for any of the politicians? Oh, okay. Do you have any final messages? No. Thank you so much. I believe we have just one other young activist we found earlier. Hi, are you alright to have a chat with us today?
Yes.
What's your name?
I'm Olive.
And how old are you?
I'm 19.
19. And what do you do?
I'm at Bristol University.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And why are you here today? What drove you to be here?
Because we need climate justice, that's why I'm here. Yeah, the government and governments across the world aren't taking strong enough action on the climate, and it's only just going to get worse if they keep delaying it. So we need to really stand up and do something. So yeah.
So I'm a student too. So why do you think it's important that students and young people get involved?
I think it's our future, and it's very easy to get caught up in fashion, the news, and sort of be distracted. But really we need to apply the pressure and remind people they can't get away with this. We can't act a certain way and have such awful consequences for our future. Through your neglect, basically. So I just encourage people to get involved in some sort of justice group, social justice, climate justice. It's just really important we take a stand.
And the theme of today's march is Reclaim the Future.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
That means, I think to me, that means realise your power. Because I think a lot of people in the current democratic political system feel they don't mean much. They can't do anything to create change. I think reclaiming the future is about stepping out of your comfort zone, realizing that power that you have by getting on the streets, joining a protest or a march, joining, like a justice group or something. But also like having fun. I think it just comes across a lot in the news, and just the like standing for something or being involved in something political is like really like a drag and boring. But I found like being involved in climate justice has been such a like hopeful experience. I think before, like in school, I was like in this sort of doom phase about things and just like feeling really helpless. But getting involved has just really empowered me, and I think it's just important to stand for something and get out there and do it. Yeah.
And do you have any final messages to any young people watching today?
It would probably be just what I said, like you are really powerful, and you have the power to change things, and get out there, use social media. Social media is such a great tool. Share posts, meet up with friends, and discuss what's going on now, discuss the politics, because it's what's going to be the future. So
thank you so much. Thank you. So we're here today at our Reclaim the Future march, led by young people, so many incredible young people here. I've met kids as young as 3, I've met 10-year-olds, 7-year-olds, fighting for so many years, fighting all their lives for a livable future. You can hear right now all the samba playing. We have such an incredible samba band as part of Extinction Rebellion. You see we've got scientists here, our doctors, our NHS workers. I've met so many teachers and parents and children and students. Everybody coming together. And that's what this is all about. We're demanding a citizens' assembly so people can come together, have the time and resources they need to come up with reasonable solutions that will work. Because the people that get us into these crises have no lived experiences of these crises. They have no lived experiences of what it's like to struggle and what a just transition actually means, because they have no experience. So what we need to do is we need to bring people together. Citizens' assemblies now, elected just like a jury, randomly selected people all across the country. We need to upgrade our politics. We need to introduce real democracy into the system. We have a long history of people fighting for democracy, and we are going to be one of that next chapter. Citizens' assemblies on climate and ecological justice. We have a system that has not been updated since the Victorian times. We have a system that is so corrupt through lobbying from oil companies and other big businesses. Our politicians are bought. We have a system that does not have representation. It doesn't have young people. That is disproportionate to what Britain actually looks like. We have a system that is so corrupt to its core. So what we need to upgrade our politics, make it work for the 21st century. Citizens' assemblies are being used all around the world. They're used in Ireland, and Scotland, and France. Our neighbouring countries use them, as well as incredible places across the globe. This is not a new idea, but it is an idea that is sweeping the world, and we shouldn't be behind. We should be at the forefront of that democracy. We are marching right now to Westminster. We are marching to the Houses of Parliament, the places that is meant to be our democratic place of this country. A place where people are meant to be able to have their say, and yet we are severely lacking democracy in this country. We need citizens' assemblies. And the youth, young people, will be the ones that bring it. Young people will be the forefront of the revolution. Young people are resisting. They are fighting back because we are not being complicit anymore. We are not allowing our future to be destroyed. Whose future? Our future.
Keep the poverty in the soil. No more gas, no more oil. Keep the poverty in the soil. Keep the carbon in the soil. No more gas, no more oil. Keep the carbon in the soil. No more gas, no more oil. Keep the carbon in the soil. No more gas, no more oil. Keep the carbon in the soil. No more gas, no more oil. Keep the carbon in the soil. No more gas, no more oil. Keep the carbon in the soil. No more gas, no more oil. Keep the carbon in the soil.
What do we want?
Climate justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Climate justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
Whose street?
Our street.
Whose future?
Our future.
Whose planet?
Our planet.
Extinction.
Rebellion.
Extinction.
Rebellion.
There is a poll. Yeah, tell us where you are, what's going on.
We're holding a banner. We're holding a banner. We're XR Youth. We're in London. We're protesting against heading to Westminster. We're protesting against fossil fuels. And this march in particular is focused on the youth involvement and how we should focus on the youth and how the youth are our future and how we will not be complicit. We will not be complicit.
Yeah, so if you could talk to other young people who are watching this, what would you say about coming out? How does it feel being out on the streets?
It feels incredible because often, as a young person, you have all the facts about climate change and it's all doom and gloom. But when you come out onto the streets, you realise there's so many people that want to do so much good. And together we can do it. We really can. It's just extremely uplifting and it's so happy and everyone is so kind and I will now have you all to be happy and be active for the next positive. Till the next rebellion. And positive and hopeful.
That's brilliant, thank you very much. Thank you.
So as you can see, there are so many people here today, so many young people to reclaim our future. Reclaiming our future, what does that mean? It means we're not going to be complicit in a system that is killing us. We're not going to be complicit in a system that is unjust, that is built on an economy of exploitation. We are not going to sit by and watch our futures and the present of the global south be destroyed. We want climate justice. We want a citizens' assembly. We want a future. My name's Imogen and I'm a student. I study contemporary dance and since the age of 8 I've been training in dance, but now I'm going to do full-time activism because I don't see it any other way. This is too important. We need to safeguard our futures. These children here today are fighting. There's so much energy and passion and love here. It really is just incredible to see.
Climate justice! No! Rebellion! 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 Rebellion!
Young people have so much energy and creativity and hope and love. We need to center young people into the climate justice decisions, into the climate justice conversation. We need to reclaim our future. Climate justice now. We are here as part of a long history of fighting for democracy, fighting for people's voices, and now the youth are rising up. The youth are rebelling, and the youth are not being in a system that is complicit any longer. I've met so many children here today, as young as 5, as young as 3, who've been fighting all their lives for their future. It's a really beautiful thing, but it's also a really terrifying thing. We shouldn't have to do this. We shouldn't have to be on the streets. But you're giving us no choice. We have a government that just yesterday announced that they're cracking down on peaceful, non-violent protests. What I say to that is ridiculous. You are delusional if you think that any of your measures are going to stop us. We are too powerful. We have too much energy, too much hope to allow you to cut down our civil liberties any longer. When we are fighting for our future, when we are fighting for our lives, what you say doesn't matter. We need your action. We need real people in the democratic process. We need everyday people. We need to bring together children and nurses and teachers and doctors and bin collectors and shopkeepers and students. We need to bring them together and have a citizens' assembly. We will only get out of this mess by working together, by collaborating, because this crisis has been caused by greed. This crisis has been caused by not listening to real people. And when I say real people, I mean people that didn't go to Eton, people that didn't get streamlined with massive, massive financial privilege.
Climate justice! Now! Our streets! Our planet! Our future! Rebellion! 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 Rebellion!
So we are here outside Parliament, outside where it's supposed to be, where democracy takes place, to demand a citizens' assembly, to demand people's voices in the democratic, in our democratic system, because we've not got that.
Okay, so you've just seen an oak sapling get planted in Parliament Square. Samba Van was surrounding the area, and then some grave diggers dug a little hole and planted an oak sapling that's come down from Norfolk. And that acorn fell from Kett's oak. Kett's oak is where the rebellion started in 1549, where the commoners gathered together in rebellion against the rich, against the authorities, because they were being thrown off their common land. And the commoners said, enough is enough, it's time to take back what is ours. And they acted in open rebellion against the government, gathering forces and fought several pitched battles against the government for their freedom, for their right to farm their lands. So that acorn has come down, well, grown into a sapling and has been planted in our very heart of our so-called democracy in Parliament Square. And it acts in open rebellion against this frankly corrupt and increasingly fascist government that's trying to bring in more and more rules to limit protest. An act of rebellion in the spirit of Kett. All those centuries ago, he was a landowner himself, but he gathered together the common folk, saw what their issues were of the day, and acted in love to try and get the government to change course. So to tell you what we're doing today, we've been giving out acorns along the streets, telling people while we're acting, and hopefully those acorns will germinate into new saplings and new rebellion spirit over the next few months. Building towards a spring of rebellion where we all come together, hundreds of thousands on the street. Because back in the 1600s they were fighting exactly the same forces. The super rich, a government that didn't care about its people, taxing the poor, taking away their liberty, taking away their land, whilst they get richer and richer and richer. We've got so little time to act, so it's an open invitation. We have such eloquent youth speaking earlier about why they're acting in rebellion. But are you going to sit at home and not support them? Come out and join us on the streets.
I've just been informed that 2 brave rebels have planted a sapling descendant of the Kett rebellion oak in the centre of Parliament Square!
Right, I'm going to go over and listen to this person from XR Youth speak.
The 6th mass extinction, and those holding power failed to act, and the destruction of our communities to the benefit of establishment greed. We say that this rebellion must hold itself to the standard of being a rebellion like the Ketts. The current establishment's answer to our collapsing ecosystem is to fuel wars. Our answer, it is to rebel for peace, rebel for justice, and rebel for life. We are more powerful than we think. As youth, we know that our current government has handed out hundreds of new fossil fuel licenses, while at the same time continue to expand the corporate projects of destruction and death across the global south. Communities across the world in Haiti, Colombia, Mali, Mexico, India are taking back power and reasserting their right to choose to belong to the land. In doing this, they're protecting our common future, even in the face of oppression and invasion, as it's happening in Haiti right now. These are the communities enacting what the Kett Rebellion called for: active resistance. We have planted this tree today as an act of rebellion, and we declare that the legitimacy of our government, legitimacy of our rebellion, can only be achieved if we contribute to the struggle for global liberation and peace being waged at the grassroots level. And we are planting this tree as an offering, an opportunity for us, the people, to commit to a future of global peace. To this government, which has driven misery in our communities and the whole globe, we declare, we reject the seeds you are sowing for us. The youth, we will not be complicit. So to the government, and to the bankers, and to all those in power, we need you to know, we are not going away. This problem is not going away, and we will not stop. Ladies and gentlemen, siblings and sisters, and all those in between, see you in April. Extinction! Extinction! Extinction!
So great to hear from XR Youth. This was a youth-led march. We started off in Hyde Park earlier, and we've marched through the city, past Buckingham Palace, to reclaim our futures. And adults have been marching with the youth in solidarity with them, because of course they're going to experience the worst effects of everything. But we mustn't forget the climate crisis is happening right now. The toxic system we're living in is causing people to perish in the global south, even as we speak. Hardship from droughts, from famine, from floods, from superstorms that come along. So this crisis is here right now. But today is a youth-led march all the way from Hyde Park. We come down to Parliament Square.
Climate justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Climate justice! When do we want it? Now! Whose street? Our streets! Whose planet? Our planet! Whose future? Our future! Extinction! Rebellion! Extinction! Rebellion! Extinction! Rebellion!
There we go.
Climate change has got to go! Hey, hey, oh, oh! Climate change has got to go! Hey, hey, oh, oh! Climate change has got to go! Hey, hey, oh, oh! Climate change has got to go! Hey, hey, oh, oh! Climate change has got to go! Hey, hey, oh, oh! Climate change has got to go! Hey, hey, oh, oh! Climate change has got to go! Hey, hey, oh, oh! Climate change has got to go! Extinction! Rebellion! Extinction! Rebellion! Extinction! Rebellion!
There you go. Direct from the voice of youth. Climate justice, reclaim our futures, brilliant to hear them all out on the streets today. And the march culminated just now with the planting of Kett's oak in Parliament Square, a seedling from Kett's oak, symbolising the rebellion of 1549, where the commoners rose up against rich landowners. And that's real symbolic. We need freedom against this oppressive government that's causing so much hardship for us at the moment, while it's benefiting the super rich. Let me adjust my camera. We have a canary in front of us. So we're checking a bit later, but I think we're going over to another interview.
Okay, so we are outside Parliament right now. We've just seen some incredible sample. We've planted a tree, and I'm here with another young activist. What's your name?
Star.
And how old are you?
19.
Amazing. And can you tell me why you're here today?
I'm here because I don't trust my government to act in favour of my future.
And the theme for this march today is Reclaim the Future. What does that mean to you?
I think part of it is to do with having people who I feel represent the interests of the collective rather than the interests of the elite and the few, but also a future that isn't built on the backs of others, of exploitation of other countries, and also I think the most important thing to me is a future that prioritizes people rather than things. The nature that we have such a deep connection to, our planet, our roots, essentially like art and welfare and community, rather than sort of materialism and money, which essentially means nothing because, as we all know, you can't eat money.
And do you have any messages for any young people out there that might want to get involved?
I think my main message would be, if you've ever considered it, the time to start is now, because at some point, hopefully it won't get to that point, but it may get to a point where you think, I wish I'd done more, and you don't want to be in a position where you wish that you'd spent your time differently, because time is the one thing that you can never get back. And also, just on a slightly less morbid note, this community is very hopeful and friendly and lovely, and I think that being part of things like this reduces my anxiety about the planet a lot, because it feels like actual, proactive progress towards change, which is kind of the one thing that you can do to feel like you're in control of the situation. But yeah, other than that, it's really necessary, very important. Please do it.
That resonated with somebody else I interviewed today who said, it's okay to be scared, but let's be scared together.
Yeah.
And it's a really powerful message. So how does it feel to be here today with this many people?
Well, to be honest, I'm quite tired after being here for the whole weekend, but at the same time, the tiredness is not weariness, it's not sort of being drained, because I found this whole thing extremely rejuvenating. My town's hosting the tour bus next weekend, so I'm basically going back with more verve and vigour to take to the bus than ever, plenty of outreach, plenty of chatting to hopefully sympathetic locals. So it's kind of energised me for that, despite being quite a long weekend for me.
And anybody watching that doesn't know what the tour bus is, could you summarise it for us?
Yeah, so there's buses going around the UK which have some rebels with them, and then also other rebels from the towns that they go to kind of join together. They're doing talks, they're hosting people's assemblies, they're inviting locals to give the opportunity to put their voice and their thoughts forward. We're specifically spotlighting a local issue, which is the Save Weekly Hallwood campaign. So it's obviously a campaign against the destruction of the local woodlands. But yeah, we've also got art and birdseed making with bird feeders and stuff, so it's going to be great, hopefully.
And any final messages to anybody watching today?
You have power, love and rage.
Very symbolic.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
The government to look after it. If they can't even look after a little sapling, how can they look after us?
Some amazing speeches going on behind us.
You may have noticed the pro-democracy Russians are here. We stand in solidarity.
Look for any more interviewees, anyone else, any other young people that wants to speak today.
We want to respect their space. They're booked in with the council to have a space here at 3:10. We really, really want to respect that. We didn't know they were going to be here. So we're going to be moving on very, very shortly.
Would any of you like an interview for our live stream?
Sandra are going to lead us there.
No.
So I invite all of you to come with us to James's Park and we can allow a bit more space for everyone else to enjoy this space. So follow Samba once they get going, and then we'll be off on a mission to St James's. Thanks everyone.
So I'm here with another young activist. What's your name?
Stanley.
And how old are you, Stanley?
8.
And how does it feel to be here today?
Good.
Good. And can you tell our audience why you're here?
To do the Extinction rebellion thing.
And why is it important that young people come out? What would you say to other young people listening today?
Well done if you're doing it.
Yeah, well done if you're doing it. And do you have a favourite chant that you could show me?
Favourite what?
Chant, like something we've been...
Not really.
Is there anything you'd like to say to any politicians watching?
Not sure.
Do you want to tell me what you've done today?
Walked around holding that and...
What did the sign say? Reclaim our future?
Yeah.
Were you at the front of the march? Was that scary or really exciting?
It was quite scary, but exciting at the same time.
Yeah. And how long is this your first march?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you're going to come again? What would you say to any other person your age that is a bit scared of coming?
It's not that scary.
And final question, when did you first hear about the climate crisis?
Probably when I was about 2 or 3.
Thank you so much for letting me interview you today. Is there anything else you want to say to our camera? Thank you so much. That's okay. Would you like to be interviewed for our live stream?
Maybe not this time, sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, we're in Parliament Square, but we're going to move off from Parliament Square shortly because there's a pro-Russian democracy, so anti-Putin, I assume, rally going on, and we don't want to disrupt that, and I think they're going to talk to the council or something like that. So in solidarity with them, we're going to move on to St James's Park. Obviously, Russia-Ukraine conflict, that's causing a lot of problems at the moment, pushing up energy prices as well, and the horrific loss of life in Ukraine and Russia, very much standing in solidarity with those people. And here we are in Parliament Square, where they've just planted a sapling oak from Kett's oak in Norfolk, symbolising the spirit of rebellion. And we've heard from such an amazing array of youth today, really passionate about change. It's just got to happen for their futures. They're scared, but they're also acting in love. They want the politicians, they want adults to listen. And really listen, not just go, oh yeah, we get it, but listen emotionally. Actually understand what these kids and young adults are going through and support them. Get out on the streets if you can, join us. There'll be actions, no doubt, throughout the winter with your local groups that you can get involved in. And then in the springtime, we're all going to come together. I think it's in April. You'll be able to find out details on the website for a mass rebellion. Hopefully with lots of other movements as well. Getting out there and telling the government, right, you've got to change right now. We've run out of time. All the scientists have told us we've run out of time. You need to tell the truth, you need to act now, and you need to form citizens' assemblies to guide us. Those are our 3 very clear demands. They've always been the same demands. We get these citizens' assemblies together, ordinary people advised by experts, plotting a course through the crisis we're in. Multiple crises, cost of living crisis, energy crisis, environmental crisis, hitting the global south now. So please like, share, comment on this live stream feed, get the news out there, have those conversations with your friends and family, those difficult conversations. Let them know what's going on, invite them out on the streets for the sake of the youth, for our own sakes. I mean, I'm 47 and I'm shit scared, to be perfectly honest. I don't know what's going to happen to me. But I'm more scared for my niece and nephew, what's going to happen to them. They're 11 and 9. Are they even going to be able to reach my age? I don't know. But I'm going to do everything I can. I don't want them turning around in another 5-10 years' time and saying, "What did you do, Uncle James?" And I said, "Oh, do you know what? I'll just let it go." No way, man. So I'm out on the streets in solidarity with the youth today. It's great to see so many rebels are still passionate enough to get out there and take action. So we're going to make our way up to St James's Park now. If you are in London today, please come out and join us. We'll probably be chilling out in the park for a while. But just take one more quick look at that sapling before I go off. A very precious thing. I'm from Norfolk, so it means a lot to me personally as well. Is it still here? Yeah, it's still here. Yeah, that spirit of rebellion, that was in 1549, the Kett's Rebellion. There it is. And now we have a sapling from the oak where the rebels in Norfolk first gathered. And if you don't know how to get involved, look up the Extinction Rebellion main website, find your local group, they do introduction sessions, and there's loads of different things you can get involved with, whether it be media and messaging. Join the live streaming team. We always need more live streamers to come along and help us. Come and be a presenter or a camera person, or help organise us. We do need organising quite a lot. We're a bit disorganised sometimes, but we're getting better at that. But yeah, any way you can get involved. Media and messaging, arts, actions, regenerative cultures. There's loads of different teams that you can get involved with. So look up your local group. There's bound to be one near you somewhere. And we'll be building over the winter, recruiting numbers. Our outreach teams will be doing a fantastic job and building towards an April rebellion. And in the meantime, we're going to keep telling the government that they're not doing a good enough job. They're not listening to us. Opening all these new oil and gas fields in the North Sea, 140 new projects they want to open. It's just not going to help anyone. It's going to... I've just bugged my camera. There we go. That'll work now. Yeah, opening 140 new oil and gas fields in the North Sea isn't going to help anyone. It's going to increase emissions again. We're already teetering on the brink of passing 1.5 degrees centigrade above pre-industrial temperatures. That's probably bust now. Climate scientists are telling us we really need to reduce emissions over the next 2 to 3 years to stand a chance of not having societal collapse. Really crossing over those tipping points where you can't go backwards after that. You might see the Atlantic current stop that keeps us a very mild climate in the UK, and that will make it very difficult to grow crops. You'll see an increase in superstorms, increase in drought and famine. So yeah, we're going to keep on acting. And even if Suella Braverman, the Home Secretary, wants to bring in new laws under the Public Order Bill, I think we're still going to... I don't think that's going to deter people. They tried with the Police Crime Sentencing Courts Bill. Now they want to bring in additional laws to stop the likes of Just Stop Oil, Animal Rebellion, Extinction Rebellion. But it's not about laws and penalties, it's about our survival. So we're going to carry on fighting for that. So please do join us. Talk to your friends, your family, your work colleagues, and see what actions you can take. I'm going to wander up towards St James's Park now and see what the action is there. Everyone seems to be moving that way. But it's been a great day. And we're going to go back to Imogen now. He's done a fantastic day job presenting. Really good to hear the youth voices. So over to you, Imogen. Thank you so much.
So we are here with our final interview of the day. Do you mind introducing yourself and saying how old you are?
I'm Bramley, I'm 22.
And so the theme of today's march was Reclaim the Future. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I guess it means a lot of things, and it's hard to summarise it. But I suppose it's really hard to imagine anyone has a future. I know I find it very hard to be grounded in the present when all you can think about is how awful the future looks. And I think part of reclaiming the future and our vision of the future is about being able to be present as well. And I think we're here with other people who value life and are willing to do something to protect life. And even though it's a small act, planting a tree, and it might not seem very significant, I think it's quite symbolic actually, and I think it's very heartfelt. And I think we need those moments to bring us together and value the small things, because we have lost those things. And I think as young people especially, it's very hard to find those things in daily life where our pleasure seems to always come through buying things. It's a transaction rather than something to share, and something very natural and organic, and I guess from the soul. So I think this feels very right. I don't know if you can see the tree behind me. I'm going to waddle away for a bit. And I think it's nice that we're planning it in autumn as well, when the leaves are falling off the trees and we can start new life now today. And I think no matter how bad things are getting, we have to hold on to empathy and hold on to connection and rediscover our roots. I think we look to other parts of the world where people still have their roots, they still have their traditions and their rituals, and it seems very alien to us in this country. But we have our own cultures and traditions that we've lost, and we can create our own as well. And I think as long as love and nature and connection is at the heart of that, I think, and that's extremely meaningful. It doesn't have to be in shapes that we've seen before. And I think that manifests in many ways, not just through planting trees, it's through our actions, it's our disruptive actions and confrontation as well. But I think there's room for all of those things. So, yeah.
And is there any final thing you want to say to any young person watching right now?
I guess I think we're all struggling. We're all having to learn how to live at a time when life is diminishing. I think we really need to hold on. I know I have to tell myself that you've got to remember to live as well. You've got to remember to look after yourself as well. But we need to challenge ourselves too. So it's all about balance. Everything's about balance. There's no simple solution. But we need to come together, and we need to think about the best ways of coming together and forcing action, but we also need to remember we're all human and connected first. And look to what unites us as well as divides us.
Thank you so much. So we're almost at the end of our weekend of resistance. It's been such a weekend of hope and of love, and yes, of fear and anger, but also of resistance. It's been such a beautiful weekend, marked by the planting of the tree as a final show of solidarity and a final show of strength. I'm so proud to be a young person in this movement right now. I'm so proud not to be complicit to a system that is killing us. And I really hope that everybody watching this right now comes out and joins us, comes and talks to us, have a conversation, because it's only together, it's only through collaboration that we will get through, yes, the climate crisis, but all these other crises that come out. They are all a symptom of greed, and together we can stop that. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in today.
Let there be no doubt about it. We are not all in the same boat. There is no equality in this existential planetary crisis. There is no justice in the climate and ecological crisis. Climate crisis is injustice. Climate crisis is inequality. Climate crisis is white supremacy. Climate crisis is patriarchy. Climate crisis is racism. Climate crisis is sexism. Climate crisis is adultism. Climate crisis is ableism. Climate crisis is racial injustice. Climate crisis is social injustice. Climate chaos divides us between the haves and have-nots, between the rich and poor, between the black and white, between the disabled and able-bodied, between the privileged and underprivileged. There is no unity in the climate and ecological crisis. There are those who run to higher ground and those left behind. Unless you see this, unless you see me, unless your fight is bound with mine, unless my survival is your survival, unless my children are your children, unless my air is your air, unless my land is your land, unless my life is your life, unless my future and your future is their future, unless their future is all that matters, all is lost.
The climate crisis. The climate crisis is a crisis for women.
I grew up here around brick and concrete, busy roads, gridlock. I'm 40 years old now and nothing's changed.
The government has told us to prepare for a 4-degree